Hi students, you must have heard of the concept of center of mass. But how do we calculate the center of mass of a semicircular disk? Or how do we calculate the center of mass of a circular disk which has a hole in it? And what exactly is the center of mass in the first place? What is its definition? And how can we use it to solve problems? We learn about all these things in this chapter, Center of Mass and Related Concepts. Take a look at this block moving on the ground. Now, which part of this block is actually moving? If you say that the velocity of the block is 5 meters per second, then the velocity of which part of this block is 5 meters per second? The top part, the bottom part, the right part, the middle part? What we do is that we take one single point to represent the entire block. This point, which is used to represent the entire block, is called the center of mass of the block. Understood? The single point which can replace an entire body, the point where the mass of the entire body can be assumed to be concentrated, is called the center of mass of the body. So basically, this is what we are going to study about in this chapter. You see, when there are rigid bodies like tables, computers, chairs, air conditioners and whatnot, it is very difficult to describe the motion of all these bodies by describing the motion of every point in the body. Like, it's very difficult to describe the motion of a table, or a huge block or a chair by describing the motion of every point on the chair or table or the block. So this is what we do. We take one single point inside the block that can replace the entire mass of the block, and then we treat the entire body, the table, the chair or the block or the AC, as one single point. Understood? And that makes our calculations very easy. This point, which can replace the entire mass of the block, is called the center of mass of the body. So there you go. You can see that in the middle of this block, there's the center of mass of this block. So when we say that the velocity of this block is 5 meters per second, we are basically saying that the center of mass of this block is moving with 5 meters per second. The point which can replace the entire block is moving at 5 meters per second. Something like this. It's easy to calculate the center of mass for symmetrical bodies. Obviously, the exact geometrical center of the body will be the center of mass, isn't it? The center of mass is that point which represents the average coordinate of the body, isn't it? And for symmetrical bodies, the average x, y, z coordinates are exactly in the middle. So for example, for this triangle, the center of mass will be exactly at the point of intersection of the medians. For this circle, the center of mass will be at the center. For this trapezium, again, the center of mass will be at the exact center. So for symmetrical bodies, the center of symmetry of the body will be where, the mass of the body will be located. Basically, the average x, y and z coordinates of the body are located at the center for symmetrical bodies, and so the center of mass is right at the center for all symmetrical bodies. What about bodies which are not symmetrical? Well, in those cases, the procedure for finding out the center of mass of the body is slightly complicated. Let's see what happens in those cases when we don't have symmetrical bodies. Before we understand how to calculate the center of mass for bodies which are not symmetrical, let us first learn about something called the average function. You see, when you have to calculate the average value of any function, f of x, in that case, it has been proved in mathematics that the average value of f of x represented by f of x bar is integral f of x dx divided by integral dx. Understood? This function you see on your screen represents the average value of f of x over the period, across which the integration has taken place. So for example, this guy is traveling in a car and his speed keeps on varying. Let's say his speed is 3t. Then the average velocity will be integral f of t dt divided by integral dt. That is integral 3t dt divided by integral dt. The average value of any function of t will be integral of f of t dt divided by integral dt. Understood? Similarly, take a look at this mountain. As you can see, the central axis in the middle of the mountain passes through the origin. So origin is in the middle and the mountain stretches towards minus x and plus x. The average height of this mountain, let us say, varies as a function h equal to minus x square. So, at any instant, the height h of this mountain is minus x square. What is the average height? The average height can be found out by the average formula, integral f of x dx divided by integral dx. So in this case, the average height is integral minus x square dx divided by integral dx, isn't it? So average of any function is integral that function dx divided by integral dx, isn't it? So this average function is used to find out average values in general, in mathematics. We can use this average function to locate our center of mass. You see, the center of mass of a body is basically the average coordinate of the body with respect to mass concentration. The mass of the body is concentrated here, 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 here. What is the average coordinate at which the mass is concentrated? Isn't that what we want to know? There is some mass here, there is some mass here, here, here. What is that average coordinate of mass of the body? What is that average value of x, y and z of the body? So clearly we want to find out x of m, y of m and z of m. That is, we want to calculate the average value of x at which the mass is concentrated, the average value of y with respect to the mass, the average value of z with respect to the mass. The average value of x with respect to the mass will be the x coordinate of the center of mass of the body. The average value of y with respect to the mass will be the y coordinate of the center of mass of the body, and the average value of z with respect to mass will be the z coordinate of the center of mass of the body. You see, there will be some mass concentrated at a distance x1 from the y-axis. There will be some more mass concentrated at a distance x2 from the y-axis. There will be some more mass of the rock at a distance x3 from the y-axis. What's the average value of the x coordinate at which the mass is concentrated? Similarly, at a distance y1 from the x-axis, there will be some mass of the body. At a distance y2 from the x-axis, there will be some mass of the body. At a distance y3 from the x-axis, there will be some mass of the body. Again, what's the average value of the y coordinate at which the mass is concentrated? The average value of the y coordinate of the body. The average value of the x coordinate of the body is x bar equal to integral x dm divided by integral dm. You see, the average value of f of t function was integral f of t dt divided by integral dt. The average value of the coordinate function, that is x of m, the average value of the coordinate with respect to the mass concentration is x of m. It is equal to integral x dm divided by integral dm. Understood? Similarly, the average value of the y coordinate of the body is y bar with respect to the mass is equal to integral y dm divided by integral dm. So basically, these are the average x, y and z values with respect to the mass of the body. Understood? The mass concentration keeps on varying throughout the body, isn't it? But the average z coordinate with respect to the mass of the body is again integral z dm divided by integral dm. So these are three very important expressions to calculate the x, y and z coordinates of the center of mass of any body on this earth. Understood? So you must remember these expressions. In fact, even if these expressions sound a bit confusing right now, don't worry. Throughout this chapter, we will explore these expressions only. You will get a better grip of all these expressions as we proceed. Now, in the case of rigid bodies, like this cylinder or this plate here, these are the values. X bar, y bar and z bar are the values of the x, y and z coordinates of the center of mass of a body, isn't it? But what if there are no rigid bodies? What if you have to calculate the center of mass of a group of particles? You have a group of, say, 4 particles, m1, m2, m3 and m4. Now, what will be the average x coordinate of all of these particles? That will be the x coordinate of the center of mass of these particles, isn't it? What do you do in that case? You cannot use the formula integral x dm divided by integral dm because there is no continuous rigid mass in this case. There is no continuous function, describing the variation of the x coordinate of the body and the corresponding mass of the body. In this case, there are individual points. In this case, mass m1 is situated at a distance x1 from the origin, mass m2 is situated at a distance x2 from the y-axis, mass m3 is situated at a distance x3 from the y-axis, and mass m4 is situated at a distance x4 from the y-axis. In this case, the center of mass is basically given by this expression: m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 plus m4 x4 divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus m4. So again, you take the weighted average of the x coordinate of each particle, understood, and that gives you the x coordinate of the center of mass of the particles. So if there are many particles, you can say that x bar, or the center of mass x coordinate of all the particles given, is sigma xi mi divided by sigma mi. Similarly, y bar, or the y coordinate of the center of mass, is sigma yi mi divided by sigma mi, and the z coordinate of the center of mass is sigma zi mi divided by sigma mi. So basically, if there are many particles and you have to calculate the center of mass of all these particles, these are the formulae that you will have to apply. Let's solve a problem that was asked recently in IIT JEE 2009. This problem will clear our concepts right away. Look at the drawing given in the figure. This drawing has been drawn with an ink of uniform line thickness. The mass of the ink used to draw each of the two inner circles and each of the two line segments is m. The mass of the ink used to draw the outer circle is 6m. The coordinates of the centers of the different parts are outer circle 0, 0, left inner circle minus AA, right inner circle AA, vertical line 0, 0, and horizontal line 0, minus A. You have to find out the y coordinate of the center of mass of the ink in this drawing. The question seems quite complicated, but it becomes very easy once you actually look at the picture given in the question. This is the picture given in the question. As you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 curves present in this question. There is one large red circle, there are 2 purple circles, and then there are these 2 straight lines. The black dots represent the center of masses of each of these bodies. We have to calculate the y coordinate of the center of mass of this entire system. We already know that the center of mass of a system of many particles is basically the average coordinate of the mass of the particles, isn't it? And it is equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 and so on, divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3 and so on. In this case too, you can say that different bodies are given, and we know the center of masses of all of these bodies because they are symmetrical. So we have to calculate the combined center of mass of all these bodies. We can do that by first writing down the coordinates of the center of mass of each of these bodies, and then using the formula, the y coordinate of center of mass equal to m1 y1 plus m2 y2 plus m3 y3 and so on, divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3 and so on. The coordinate of the center of mass of the line in the middle, the nose, is 0, isn't it? The y coordinate is 0. The mass of this line is m. The y coordinate of the right circle here is a, its mass is m. The y coordinate of this horizontal line is minus a, and its mass is m. The y coordinate of this I circle on the left is a, and its mass is m. The y coordinate of the center of mass of this large red circle is 0, and its mass is 6m. So we can, imagine that all of these parts of this figure, of this face, are actually individual points. We can replace each of these bodies with individual points, and we can replace them by different particles of the same mass. Then all we need to do is calculate the center of mass of all of these particles. Clearly, the y coordinate of the center of mass of all of these bodies is sigma mi yi divided by sigma mi, isn't it? That is, it's m into a plus m into a plus m into 0 plus m into minus a plus 6m into 0 divided by the sum of masses of all these bodies. Therefore, the y coordinate of the center of mass of all of these bodies mentioned comes out to be a by 10. This is the center of mass of all of these bodies given in the question. That's the center of mass of the entire face. So there you go. That was such a simple question, wasn't it? All we needed to do here was calculate the center of mass of all the individual bodies given, and then calculate the center of mass of the net system consisting of all of these bodies by treating each body like a particle and applying the formula y center of mass equal to sigma mi divided by sigma mi. Here's another question. The mass of each of the three particles shown below is m. The sides of the cube shown have a length a. If one particle having the same mass as all the particles below, 3m, had to replace all the particles shown below, at what distance from a would that particle be placed? So basically there's a cube given in the question. There are three particles placed at different points on the cube. One is placed at A, one at B, and one at C. We have to find the distance of the center of mass of these particles from the point A. After all, we have to find the coordinate of a particle of mass 3m to replace all of these three particles. That simply means we have to find the center of mass of the system. The coordinate of the particle at A is 0, 0, 0. Coordinates of the particle at B are A minus A0 because its x coordinate is A with respect to this origin, A, its y coordinate is minus A with respect to the origin, and its z coordinate is 0 with respect to this origin. Similarly, the coordinates of C are A, minus A, A. This is because the x coordinates of C with respect to origin is A, the y coordinate of C with respect to the origin is minus A, and the z coordinate of C with respect to the origin is plus A. So these are the coordinates of the three particles. Coordinate of the center of mass can be easily found by using the formula sigma mixi divided by sigma xi, sigma mizi divided by sigma zi, and sigma miyi divided by sigma yi. So the x coordinate of the center of mass is x coordinate of A into mass of A plus x coordinate of B into mass of B plus x coordinate of C into mass of C divided by 3m. This comes out to be 2a by 3. Similarly, the y coordinate of the center of mass is y coordinate of A into mass of A plus y coordinate of B into mass of B plus y coordinate of C into mass of C divided by 3m. This comes out to be minus 2a by 3. We can similarly calculate the z coordinate of the center of mass of the system. The z coordinate of the center of mass is z coordinate of A into mass of A plus z coordinate of B into mass of B plus z coordinate of C into mass of C divided by mass of all three particles. This one comes out to be a by 3. So there you go. We know the exact coordinates of the center of mass of this system. Clearly, the distance of the center of mass from the point A is square root of x square plus y square plus z square, isn't it? So if you calculate the square root of x bar square plus y bar square plus z bar square, you'll get the distance of the center of mass of these three particles from the point A. And that will be your answer. Here's another problem. Find the coordinates of the center of mass of a semicircular ring if point O represents the origin. Take a look at this picture here. There's a semicircular ring as shown. O represents the origin. The radius of the ring is r. We have to calculate the coordinates of the center of mass of this ring.